From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening, good morning, as the case may be, across all these many time zones, from the Hawaiian Tahitian island chains, where the girls dance in grass skirts, all the way across flyover country, to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands, where they don't wear much more, down into South America, where who knows, north to the pole, where they dress warmly, and worldwide on the internet. This is Coast to Coast AM. Good morning, everybody. I'm Art Bell. And I've got some interesting news for you. All of this, as usual, came down about 30 minutes prior to airtime. I'll tell you, I have a lot of help in opening my mail. My wife and I open my mail, and my wife, the majority of it. And we've got another letter from the man who sent the Roswell materials and more. Never fails, just before airtime. For those of you that are not caught up on this story, let me rehash just a little bit. Several months ago now, I received what was purported to be Roswell crash materials. Very odd stuff. Then about, I would guess a month later, I received a second shipment purporting to be from the skin of the crashed craft. There have been extensive tests performed on these materials. You're going to get another report on them Sunday on Dreamland. And there are some very exotic tests planned that I cannot talk about. These materials include what appears to be 100% pure aluminum in very strange configurations. 9999 aluminum in very strange parts. Those photographs are on the internet. It includes what is purported to be from the skin of the spacecraft, which is made up of a very strange set of elements, 3 elements only. Magnesium, zinc, and bismuth, which is thought to be anti-gravitic in nature. So we've got something very serious on our hands. All of the nation's best rare metals people, industrial people, the people at our nation's national security locations, none of them are able to explain what we have. Now, I really can't go into any more detail than that right now, except to say there is a complete scientific report on the internet, on my webpage, with electron scanning, microscope photographs, and graphs of spectrography and all the rest of it. Now, that brings us to this evening. I have received another letter, and I'm not going to be able to give you all of it, but I'll read what I can, okay? Dear Mr. Bell, against my better judgment and my wife's advice, I once again am sending this information your way in the hope that it will assist you in your efforts. Thank you for stating in your broadcast that I reside in blank. It has been most helpful. Actually, I reside in blank, but am able to visit the South Carolina region on military hops out of blank Air Force Base. That's why these, and I'm putting in the blanks, that is why these letters have been so sporadic and have a South Carolina postmark. It is a means to protect myself. I know that you and Ms. Howe understand. I did send a letter her way with additional information, but since she has not discussed it, or have you, perhaps the information in that correspondence is still being examined. Okay, regarding the precise location of the crash site from Granddad's journal, and here's where I really can't read. I won't read. He describes in degrees, minutes, and seconds the precise location. He describes it, let's put it this way, as within a 30-mile radius of Roswell. Okay, regarding, the reason I'm not going to give you the precise location is we're going to want to look at it, and I don't want a bunch of people getting there before we do. Secondly, regarding the second set of samples dispatched, meaning that from the outside of the craft. Sample extraction radiated light for a full 3 hours, originally located on the central underside of the wedge-shaped disc. Speculate some type of shielding, ? To enable craft and crew to survive accelerated entry into the atmosphere when the craft was experiencing uncontrolled descent. Pile of blackened ash was analyzed, and the ash was confirmed of the same elements of layering. Ash consisted of fibrous dust and residue. Ash and all debris swept into bagging. Bags then placed in tagged boxes. Boxes placed into metal footlockers. Initial examination off-site conducted at New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology. Secondary examinations at Los Alamos facilities. Footlockers subsequently airlifted by courier to Wright Field, Ohio. I sincerely hope this has been helpful. I have considered calling your broadcast or sending the journal itself, but frankly I am afraid. Why? Well, in all my years of involvement with this subject, I have only confided in one other person outside my family. He and their plane, a C-130, crashed and burned within hours of my conversation about Roswell. This happened in the late 70s. Since that day, to the day I first contacted you, Mr. Bell, I have been silent completely on these matters. You see, Mr. Bell, my friend was carrying a Roswell sample. I have reasons to be fearful. C-130s don't normally get hit by lightning and explode. I'm not trying to be melodramatic or paranoid on these matters. I've been as factual and truthful as I can be. Experience has taught me that virtue is the better part of valor, and silence can speak volumes. Frankly, sir, it is not easy hiding in plain sight, as I've had to when it comes to this subject. I'd better go. I hope this letter helps. Signed, a friend. And he included something very interesting with the letter. It is a photograph, and I need your help with this. It is a very ancient photograph. I can tell you that it is very, very old. It is kind of yellowed, and I'll tell you what it says on the back of the photograph. It says, a B-24 carrying the Roswell debris to Wright Field. Large contingent is security detachment. 2 bodies of aliens on board B-24 along with footlockers. Now, as I said, this is very difficult to see. It's an old photograph, and I have scanned a number of photographs of my father in the Marine Corps and my mom that had the exact same yellowish, very old tint to it. It's obviously genuine. Now, I am not an airplane person. That is, I am not a person who easily identifies aircraft. But what can be seen in this photograph at a distance is an aircraft that could be a B-24. I don't know. I would say, and it's very difficult to see from here, but it looks very much like 40 or 50 or 100 troops near this B-24 in a line. I cannot tell you any more than that. I can only tell you about 30 minutes ahead of airtime, I scanned this photograph and sent it to Keith Rowland. He probably has got it up on the website by now. So any of you who are familiar with aircraft, what I did is I pulled some of the yellow aspect of the picture out, which turned it back into more or less a black and white when I scanned it. That's all I did. I just pulled the color intensity down to 0 and brought it back to black and white. Otherwise, it is a pretty good representation of the photograph I have got in this letter. So anybody who would like to go up to the website and take a look, I would very much appreciate it. The website that contains all of the information on the parts received, the testing done, and now this new photograph can be located by going to www.artbell.com. That's my website address, www.artbell, no space, ARTBELL.com. Of course, the obligatory http:// then www.artbell.com. Or with a browser, you can just put in Artbell, and it is the first web page listed. So there you are. That is the latest. I'm withholding a couple of things, the man's real location, and the specific exact area of the crash site. Other than that, that is the content of the letter, and you now have the photograph up there, and I would appreciate anybody who knows anything about aircraft going up there and seeing if there is anything you can recognize that would help us out. A more detailed report is coming this Sunday. Now, it is Friday night, Saturday morning, or if you're hearing this Sunday night, Monday morning, so be it. The President of the United States, the one and only Bill Clinton, said today, the economy is in the best shape this generation. Arguably, he is correct. Unemployment is at a 6-year low. There have just been 239,000 new jobs created, many of them construction jobs at high pay. The average pay for Americans, lagging for years, is now significantly on the rise. Housing markets are good. So the president arguably is correct. The economy is in good shape, and the forecast is it will be in better shape. The market didn't like that one bit. It points toward the possibility of inflation, interest rate hikes, almost a damn sure thing now from the Fed, and so the Dow Jones went down almost 115 points on the day. So it is typical of the market to react this way, and I bet it's going to be a bad Monday. This is, though, on balance, bad news for Bob Dole, because people vote their pocketbooks. That is the one truth, absolute truth about elections. I doubt that people care much about the president's dalliances, whether they occurred or not. Whitewater's gone nowhere. I've gone through this whole litany before. The FBI files mess seems to be going nowhere, should be, but isn't, probably because of all the battering the president's been getting. So, on balance, my judgment continues to be this president is going to be reelected. And he'll be reelected because Bob Dole is not going to be a good contestant, but most of all, because the economy appears as though it's going to be in very good condition. That reelects presidents. So there you are. Crime. Get this. Crime for juveniles, young people, is up 68% in the last 5 years. Latest on NBC, an LA gang video. What a piece of work this is. It shows gang members indulging in arson, bomb making and exploding, and attempted murder. By the way, this is in a better part of LA. And I don't know. It's a horrible time we live in. People document their bad deeds for later enjoyment or something. I've got several unrelated things now. Art, after hearing you read the new letter on the demon seeds, it began to hit me they may be for real. My first reaction was to urge you to burn them, but that'd be wrong. Clearly you can't risk planting them, but I think you should send at least half of them to Linda Howe so she can arrange analysis. I'm sure they can be germinated in a secure lab under controlled conditions, and possibly DNA analyzed. Have you heard, by the way, the Saudis say they have evidence the army barracks bombing was arranged and financed not by Iran, but by Syria. If that proves true, it'll be quite a shock. We've been coddling Assad for an awful long time. We've been warned by many other countries he's no better than Saddam. I guess we never learn. Later, Rick in Reno. All right, seems like a good topic, so listen to this. Dear Art, been listening to your show for about a half year. Enjoy it. Don't know what your topic is for the evening, neither do I, but here is something that I've been considering sharing with you. A couple of months ago, you had a gentleman call in claiming to have shot and killed a Bigfoot, actually two of them. I know this is getting to be a well-worn topic, but I, too, had a close encounter with Sasquatch many years ago. Being a professional person and well thought of in my field, I've been reluctant to share my tale with any but a few close friends. It's a long story, but I'll be brief. First, let me say I was born and raised here in the Rogue Valley of southern Oregon. I've been an avid outdoorsman, backpacker in my entire life. 22 years ago, while packing deep in the Marble Mountains Wilderness area, Northern California, southern Oregon border area, myself and two companions were terrorized for an entire evening by the beast. We spent that night in a large madronic tree. That's M-A-D-R-O-N, madrone tree, I guess. That's an E, I'm sorry. Tree, and the next day, while packing back down the trail, the animal flanked us for about 3 miles. I'd like to go into details, but space here does not permit. Suffice it to say, we saw the animal close up several times. Art, they really do exist. One of the people that went through this with me recently moved back to the area. We plan to repeat our journey this fall, this time a little better prepared. If you'd like to know more of my experience, possibly I could mail you the whole story. It is quite interesting. Signed, Keith. I've got a phone number here, too. So there you are. All right, I've got more, but I don't have more time to get it all out right now, so let me take care of a couple of things, and then I'll get the rest of this out to you, and then we will have a night of open line. You name it, anything you want to talk about, talk radio. Stay right there.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 5th, 1996.
I'm telling you, I've got to be the collection point for all the world's weirdness, because you should see what I've got. Right. I've got an article from a 1957 edition of Fate, that's F-A-T-E, Fate magazine. It's entitled Silver Chaff from the Sky. The fall of metallic shreds was mysterious enough. Then, even more mysteriously, the chickens died. Monday night, August 27th, 1956, was cool, the sky slightly overcast in Chemung County, is it? C-H-E-M-U-N-G County in the southern part of New York State. Above the overcast, the moon rose late, full, and blood red. It was still rising when Mr. and Mrs. Charles Reese of Sagetown, which is 8 miles south of Elmira, went to bed after feeding the 2 watchdogs on their chicken ranch. Shortly after midnight, a light rain began to fall. A little later, after 2 a.m. Tuesday morning, Mrs. Reese was awakened by the dogs, who were barking angrily in the yard. She rolled over, went back to sleep. Her husband, sound sleeper, slept through until morning. At about 6:30 a.m., Mr. Reese left the farmhouse to attend to his chores. Rounding one of several chicken coops on a 2-acre ranch, he discovered thousands of bright, shiny, metallic shreds scattered all over the ground. He said later that an offensive odor assailed his nostrils at the same time. The shreds were silver-colored on one side and lavender-tinted on the other. Each segment was about 1/2 to 1 inch in length and about 1/2000th of an inch thick. They resembled brightly colored Christmas tree icicles. Also scattered about the area were several pieces of a substance resembling cardboard, evidently the remains of a container or containers in which the metallic shreds had been packed. Mr. Reese discovered on the roof of a nearby chicken coop had been dented by an object apparently that had fallen from the sky. Undecided about the identity of the substance, Mr. Reese notified the town of Southport patrolman Robert A. Loomis. The police officer collected some samples of the substance and contacted the county airport manager, who investigated and had made an immediate air search of the vicinity. A light liaison plane of the Connecticut National Guard had been reported missing on a routine flight on Monday between Albany and Camp Drum, New York. Though this is far north of Elmira, the airport officials considered the plane might have wandered into the area, blah, blah, blah. Let me go on. At any rate, his chickens, began to die. And there's a lot more to the article. Now, as usual, they have sent me these metal shards. I have the metal shards. I also have some of the roots of the plants that died. Yes, that's right. Plants died as well. So now I've got these metal shards. And I've also got the phone number of the guy who sent me this stuff. Let's see. Roots and stem, which were gathered along with the tinsel. Blah, blah, blah. So, I don't know. I've got the demon tinsel here. I don't know what this stuff is, but I've got the article on the original story, and I've got some of the tinsel. Apparently I have been the designated collection point for anything weird, dangerous, or unexplainable. And I don't know what I'm going to do with the tinsel. And I don't have unlimited funds with which to go testing this stuff in labs. It's a very expensive process. And without going into detail with regard to the Roswell fragments, we're beginning to go into some rather expensive testing, and that's really all I can say about that. So, there you are. I've got more, but I'll hold it. Let's go to the phones. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, I'm interested in that photograph you got from Roswell there.
Yes, sir.
There's a couple of things about that. You could probably take a look at it in your own house there.
I've got, by the way, what I've got, so everybody knows, is actually the original photograph. I was not sent a computer photograph. I've got the original one.
Okay. There's a couple of things to find out if it's original. There's things that they can do to deceive it. I'm not saying that it's fake or anything, but there's a couple of things you could do right now to take a look at it and see.
What?
Basically, I'm not sure if you're familiar with developing pictures or not.
No, but, really.
Basically, the last step in developing is putting it into the fixer solution.
Yes.
And if you dip it in there for 2 minutes, it should be a pretty good photograph. If you dip it in there for like 2 seconds, it'll come out yellowed and almost looking like it's been...
Well, now, wait a minute. I don't know about that, because when I wrote my book, you know, the Art of Talk book I wrote, I got a lot of old photographs from my mom and my dad when they were in the Marine Corps. And they frankly looked exactly like this photograph in terms of the yellowed oldness, almost identical.
See, putting it in the fixer solution for about 2 seconds will do almost the same thing. Does the photograph look like there's any like the gloss on it? Does it look like it's kind of tattered or?
Yeah, wrinkled would be the word.
That's a sign there. It's not a definite sign. Also, on the back, what's the material on the back of the photograph? Does it feel glossy or does it feel...
No, it's not glossy.
Is it like fibers?
It's like, it's like paper. White. It's white on the back.
And
you know,
is it anything like Kodak or...
Yeah, you know, it's almost erased, but there's some kind of date here. I can't quite read it. I'm maybe with a magnifying glass.
If you could get a magnifying glass, and you said there's handwriting on the back.
Oh, yes.
Basically, by looking at it,
I think, you know, obviously a photographic expert could date this. I'm not that.
If you could take a look at the ink though itself, you could do it yourself with a magnifying glass. Take a look at, if it was a ballpoint pen, it would be kind of a long, smooth streak. If it was like one of the old quill type pens, you'll see it kind of jagged, dotted, almost pattern.
Well, what I'm going to hold out for, obviously, is some people who would go take a look at it on the web page, and before the night is over, you can be darn sure we're going to get some reports.
Yeah, I'm be kind of interested because basically you've got two things from this guy now. One of them, your parts obviously are extremely difficult to determine what they are. This photograph could be the truth or trash of it all.
I agree. I agree, and I'm willing to submit this photograph for testing. Believe me.
Yeah.
So
I would be kind of interested to see.
So would I, although let me tell you, sir, the parts are not as difficult to prove as you might imagine. We've come a long way.
Okay.
So thank you very much for the call. I appreciate it, and listen through the night. I'm sure you're going to hear more.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much. Take care. You know what I think I'm going to do? How can I do that? Let me think. I'm tempted, this guy's way back in New York, so it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning, but I'm tempted on this tinsel he just sent me, I'm tempted to call the guy. So John back there in New York, get ready if you're listening. I think I'm going to call you. God. I want to know what this stuff is. If it killed chickens, then it's potentially dangerous, and I'm not sure that I want to have it around. So, let me see. Let me get some work done here, and maybe I'll pick up the phone and try to call him. Probably wake him up, and he'll be angry. All right, I'm unable to reach John. I got his answering machine, so I guess we're going to have to follow up on this later, and until then I'll keep this tinsel in a safe place. Killer tinsel that fell from the sky. My first reaction was that it was chaff, but I don't think this is chaff. It gave off an odor, it killed chickens, it killed trees, and now I've got it sitting in the other room. Probably killing my cats or something. Something has happened. I've become a collection point for this weirdness, and I don't know what to do about it. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Art, this is Ray in Kansas City.
Hi,
How
Ray.
are you?
I'm fine.
I've just been wondering, I better call you later, Art.
You better call me later?
Well,
turn your radio off. That is number one. Okay? Reach over and turn that sucker off. Okay?
I called you a few months ago about the international conspiracy to form a global government.
Yeah.
I've been listening a lot to shortwave, and I've heard that some terrible things could possibly happen at the Olympics.
Well, there were 2 shakeups at the Olympics today, matter of fact. One Olympic security guard was hit by a stray bullet, and somebody else crashed through one of the barriers, so it's not an auspicious beginning.
Also, I'd like to mention or bring up Norio Hayakawa.
Yes.
What conclusions did you come to about what he told you and all of us out here?
All right. Well, now listen on the air. I don't come to conclusions about things guests say. Maybe that has occurred to you by now after listening to the show for I don't know how long. I listen to and allow guests to unwind their story. It does not mean that I buy into it. Frequently the audience, because I allow my guests to tell their story, assume this means I acquiesce. I agree. It is not necessarily the case. I am not one of these people running around in deep fear of a one-world government. That's just the way it is. I'm not. And so I didn't necessarily at all agree with all Norio had to say. I nevertheless gave him a forum in which to say it. And that is the way I do business here on the air, in case you haven't figured that out yet. I don't bring a guest in here and put a third-degree light on him and batter him and with everything he says. I just don't do it. It's not my style with a guest. I have all of you for that. When I have a guest in here, I let him say what he wants to say. First-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Turn your radio off.
Okay.
That's good.
Is this Art Bell?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
I am Dawn. I'm calling from California, and I just wanted to say how much I really enjoy your show.
Oh, that's sweet. Where in California are you?
I'm in Santa Maria. It's just about 20 miles.
Oh, I know where it is. That's KSMA.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, how old are you?
I'm 26.
26. You sound like you're about 12.
Oh, thank you. I love you.
Do a lot of people tell you that?
Oh, yeah, I get that quite a lot, actually.
I mean, like you answer the phone and they say, "Is your mom home,
yeah,
please?"
Yeah, is my mom home? Is my dad? Can my dad come to the phone? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoy the show. It is never the same on any night.
No, it isn't, and I love every minute of it.
Wonderful.
My husband was the one who originally, he works late nights, and he came home and he told me one day, "You've got to listen to this show. It's great," and I've been hooked ever since.
Well, thank him, and I thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's very nice. Yes, you may have noticed I don't follow any particular format. We just do whatever we do on any given night. That's the way I like it. And so this program is never, ever predictable. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
All right. When did this tinsel incident happen?
Today. Oh, you mean
Today?
when did it originally occur?
Yeah.
In 1956.
Oh, okay.
I've got the entire article right here that was in Fate magazine.
Oh, I thought this happened a couple days ago or something.
No, the recent aspect to it is it just got to me.
Ah.
So wonderful.
Okay, that explains it, because something like that would have made the papers.
Yeah, Silver
I'm not
Chaff.
too far from there.
Silver Chaff from Scott. Oh, where are you?
Utica, New York.
Utica. Well, I'm not real happy about having it. That's why I tried to call that guy just now.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, maybe I'll try later in the show at, say, 3 o'clock or something my time. That'd be 6 o'clock your time, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Take care. Silver Chaff falls from sky, kills chickens, kills plants, and he sends it to me. Yikes. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Well, hello.
Hi.
Well, this is wonderful. I've enjoyed you for about a year. My name is Dan, and I live in Grass Valley, California.
All right, Dan.
And I have a little offer for your audience here. I would like, I'm one of the people out here that has been working with pyramid power and Mobius figure eights and those sorts of matters. And I would like to hear from some various people.
What's a Mobius?
A Mobius figure eight. Think of a figure eight when you twist it, like if you take a rubber band and you twist it so that the axis does not touch.
Yes.
Okay, well, a Mobius figure eight is can be thought of in that fashion. That way the energy can travel through it without short-circuiting itself in the center.
What energy?
Okay, Mobius figure eights are used in the conventional sense. They're cooled and used for lasers. But people that have been using what is often called the aura have been using Mobius figure eights for thousands of years. They're known by various names, but that's basically what they are.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. And so I invite your audience I'd like to mention one other thing here. Those of you who are interested in pin-based computer systems, here's an interesting little fact for you. If sighted people would have learned or could or choose to learn a form of ink dot-based braille, the cost of the hardware and the software of those units would go dramatically down. Do you follow me, Art?
Yes.
Because the braille does not have an identity. It does not have the variables in it, which script or print does. So
you're jumping around. You're jumping around a lot on me here. We started out with pyramids and
right. Okay. The project that I'm working on actually uses a form of braille in it, and I'm getting ready to build model number 2, and I'm hoping to tie this in to some high-tech accoutrements. And the bridge between the pyramid energy and the other involves braille codes which are placed within the tubes of the pyramids.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you're kind of out there a little bit. A lot of people aren't going to be tracking with you here because
right. Well, the reason why I gave you that extreme example is that I do know that there are people out there that are working with pyramids and various other configurations. So I decided, since I enjoy your show so much, to offer something that I knew would be really way out there. And I just want you to know that I really look forward to hearing you, and I hope that I'll be listening for a long, long time.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for the call. That sounds a little like you might be sending me something. Uh-oh. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi. Art.
Yes.
South Dakota.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen Independence Day yet?
Not yet.
Oh, I saw it tonight. It was just absolutely the most awesome movie I think I've ever seen.
I know.
They had about 500 special effects in it, in the whole movie. And they even made some reference to Roswell.
I heard that. I've also heard, and I'm asking people to listen, I got a fax from a man and his wife who both say in one of the war room scenes, now, I don't know what that means. In one of the war room scenes, they heard my name mentioned in background chatter.
Really?
Yeah, and so I'm asking that people would go to CID4, listen for that so we can see if it is true.
Well, I'm going back to see it Sunday, and I'll make a special...
You're going back. You must really have liked it.
Oh, it was really good. Hey, if I don't get to talk to you again, have a great vacation.
Well, that's not going to be until August.
I thought you were going here in July.
No, I'm leaving August 2nd.
And you're going to Russia?
I'm going to Russia. I'm going to Scandinavia. I'm going to Germany and Britain and all over.
Oh, that's really nice. Are you going to cruise over, or are you going to fly over?
Well, no, we're going to cruise. We're going to fly over and then cruise about.
Oh, that's great.
It's kind of both. Thank you very much. Yes, it would be a very long cruise indeed to take on the Atlantic. No, thank you. We'll do the cruise when we get there, and I'm looking forward to it. It's getting closer now. I'm getting caught in the sight.
The trip back in time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More Somewhere in Time coming up. Premier Networks presents Art Bell Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 5th, 1996.
It just gets stranger and stranger. For those joining at this hour, I can't repeat all I have. I will in the next hour. But what I will tell you now is there is new information on the Roswell parts, significant new information. We've got a photograph which purports to be a B-24 loading. Well, let me see if I can find it here. I've got so much stuff. Which purports to be a B-24 loading to take the parts to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And I've also got some others. Let me read you what it says. It says, B-24 carrying Roswell debris to Wright Field, large contingent means of military troops, is security detachment, bodies of aliens on board B-24 along with footlockers. This is from the man who sent me all these parts. Now, I've received these two faxes already. I've got that photograph. It's an old photograph, folks. So it's not in the best of condition. And I've got the original photograph here. I scanned it in, took the color intensity down to bring back the black and white aspect of the photograph. That's the only thing I changed about it. Added a little contrast because it's very faded. But that is now on my website, along with a whole bunch of other stuff. You've got to make it up to, if you know anything about aircraft, I want to know, first of all, if it is a B-24. Here's what I received so far. Art, Roswell photo. Just looked at the picture, and there would appear to be about 60 fully geared paratroopers waiting to board, although that plane would not hold 60. The blob in the upper left-hand corner, weird by the way, may be another B-24 coming in to pick up the rest of the troops, but why paratroopers? And then this, from the desk of Bob, and I won't read the last name, Hi Art, love the show. I viewed the photograph of the airplane on the webpage. It sure is a B-24 bomber. I'm also faxing you a picture of a B-24 so you can compare it for yourself. Keep up the good work, Rob. So apparently, I've got to hear from more of you. It is a B-24, I guess. I'm not an airplane expert, but I do have the original photograph, and by God, we can date it. Now, here's where it gets even weirder. Behind the scenes, over the last month, I would say, we have had a scientist working with us whose name I am not going to give unless he wishes to give it. But he sent me a fax just now, which says, Dear Art, I'm sure that I should not be faxing you at this time. However, I just heard your letter concerning Art's parts. I was visited today by the DIA, that would be the Defense Intelligence Agency. If you will contact me either tonight or tomorrow, I'm willing to provide information I was hesitant to speak of and did not give to Linda last weekend. This can be confirmed by calling Linda and asking about our conversation. The information I provide will fill in many gaps and go far beyond the hints I have provided thus far. It is fundamentally important that this information be gotten out before some unforeseen event occurs to me. I have not contacted Linda because I feel her conversations are being monitored. There is more than one person scared at this time. I'm concerned for my wife and children as well. Personal regards, signed by the person you're about to hear. So I've called him, and here he is. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
Hi. I'm going to leave it up to you. What do you want to be called?
Why don't you call me Dan?
Dan.
Yes.
Okay, Dan. Dan, why don't you give the people as much of a background as you can with regard to who you are or what your background is and how you came to be interested in these Roswell materials that I possess?
Well, probably the easiest way is just to summarize it in a couple of sentences. I have master's degrees in computer science, aerospace engineering, and physics, and a PhD in physics. I worked for the Air Force from 1973 through 1980, and I've been following all of your information since it appeared a month and a half, 2 months ago concerning Art's parts.
Right.
Initially, I wasn't real interested in the materials because extract aluminum can certainly be made, forged, and punched out.
Yep.
But I quit sleeping at night, when I heard about the bismuth parts that you had talked about.
Right.
And certainly became more concerned when I saw the first EM scans that came down that you showed,
right.
About 2 weeks ago.
Ones that are up on the website.
The ones that are on the website at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, after thinking about it long and heavy, I faxed you last weekend. And since that point, we've been in contact virtually daily.
Right. And you have been in contact significantly with Linda Howe.
Yes, I have. I've been in long conversations with Linda.
By the way, Linda will give a report this coming Sunday, but they've done a polished cross-section of the bismuth, magnesium, zinc. And I can't give you the exact figures, but the magnesium is 97%, 98%, something like that. The zinc varies from about 6 to 7%, and the bismuth is pure. And with all the people we've talked to, Dan, nobody has the slightest idea what this is, how to make it, or what it would be used for, but you have some hints in that direction, don't you?
Yeah, I have actually quite a few. I was involved over a 7-year period as basically a research physicist with the Air Force. And I worked out of 2 locations primarily, one being Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the other one being Edwards Air Force Base. And as a part of my responsibilities, I was given quite often, or I was asked to perform quite often reverse engineering tasks.
Reverse engineering?
Reverse engineering.
Now, what that means is you've got something and you don't know what it is or where it came from, and you, in effect, try to figure it out in reverse. Instead of inventing, you're sort of trying to figure out how it was invented.
Yeah, a good example would be back in the 70s, a MiG was flown into the China area, I believe. Not China, but so I guess into Hong Kong or one of those areas.
All right.
It was flown across the border. And the military gave the aircraft back within 7 days. But over that 7-day period, I virtually worked 24 hours a day because all of a sudden things started showing up in my lab, asking me to try to determine what they were and verify them.
Right.
Now, in most cases, it was tube-type electronics, and they were very easy to figure out and determine their purpose. But that's an example of the type of reverse engineering, is to figure out what they did, bandwidth performance, if it was jamming equipment, and things of that nature.
Sure. So that was the conventional kind of work you did. Did you back engineer anything, shall we say, more exotic?
There was quite a few times when all of a sudden I got a call at 2 o'clock or so in the morning stating that there were people waiting for me at my front door. At that point, I lived in Ohio, Springfield, a little town, Springfield. And in 15 minutes, they'd pick me up. Well, 10 to 15 minutes later, there'd be a knock on the door, and it would typically be either an E8 or an E9 waiting for me to go on a trip with them.
Right.
And one trip I can remember in particular, an E9 came. He first asked for my identification, and I thought that was relatively strange to go through all the details that he went through to verify I was who I was. I got in the car with him, a sedan, and was driven to Wright Field. On the way, he asked me if I would leave him with my watch, which I was very hesitant to give him. It was an HP01, which was one of the original calculator watches.
Oh, yes, I recall.
And I was concerned, this is a $750 watch. You want me to give it to you?
Yeah.
To which his comment was, don't be concerned about it. It won't be damaged. If it is, it'll be replaced. So I gave him my watch. Climbed on the aircraft, and we departed right pat. About 4 hours later, we landed. I knew that we flew west, but that was about it. There was virtually no contact between the cockpit and myself. And I found that a little frustrating because in my background, I have about 10,000 hours airtime, and I am typed in an N265, which is basically Sabres, or T39.
Okay.
And so, but anyway, that was kind of the nature of the beast. Anyway, we arrived right at sunup. The sun was just coming up, and it was obvious that I wasn't at Edwards. I couldn't tell where I was, and to this day I'm not sure where it was. There were a few hangars around. But anyway, I went into labs and spent about 2 weeks at a lab facility that on my TDY orders was identified as Edwards.
Okay.
Now, I don't know whether I had flown into China Lake or where it was, but it certainly was not Edwards Air Force Base.
Gotcha. Can you tell us what you did?
Well, I was provided some materials and asked to identify the materials and what they were. And I was given some samples that were about 5 centimeters on a side, and about, I'll convert this to inches to make it easier, about 3/4 of an inch thick.
All right.
There was a spherical radius, which means it was curved on all sides on the bottom. So it, where it came from, I had no idea, but I was asked if I could identify the material and explain what it was to the people. There was a lot of individuals that came in and out of the lab, and with the security arrangements that you go through, it was real simple. If you were in a lab and someone came in, they had a right to be there. I guess all of my work was virtually top secret at the time.
Gotcha.
And so that was one of those basically things that you knew. If someone entered the lab, they had a right to be there. And I had visits from not only the Air Force, but from the Navy and a lot of other agencies, some black suitors of who I don't know who they were.
So this is the kind of work you were doing, and I presume to this day you can't really divulge the specific details.
No, I can't. About 99% of what I do, I can't provide or discuss.
I understand.
And I guess the reason I'm talking to you is I was so upset and nervous when I heard about Art's parts. I just basically didn't want to do anything with it at all.
In other words, when you began to hear about the reports coming in on the skin of the craft,
yes,
obviously something resonated in you with regard to what it was.
Oh, absolutely.
What is that? What is that?
What is that?
Yeah, what is that resonated inside? What do you think we've got, Dan?
Well, I think you have portions of what I describe as a lifting body, or portions of the skin of a lifting body. I was exposed to material that was virtually identical to what you're discussing and have been discussing. It turns out that the material was layered about 30 layers of alternating pure bismuth,
Yep.
interlaced with primarily magnesium,
Yep.
with about 3 to 4 microns of the bismuth, with about 20 to 25 microns of the magnesium compound, and then that was interlaced all the way up through the body of the material, or through the entire mass of the material.
All right. Linda Howe interviewed you to play back this last Sunday. We didn't play it back on purpose, so it didn't air this last Sunday. She's got that interview with you, though, and may play it, for all I know, this Sunday. I don't know, Dan. But what I do know is you've been in private conversations with her, as I have been with her, and by fax with you. Now, all of a sudden, something's happened. You had guys show up today?
Yeah, I had 3 people show up today and spent about 2 hours with me.
Defense Intelligence Agency?
Precisely. They're concerned about communications, and if I had been in contact with Linda Howe or anybody else concerning arts parts.
Yeah.
And I basically stated that, yes, I had been in contact with Linda Howe.
This is exactly what I was afraid of. All right. Can you relate? In other words, you admitted to them you'd been talking to Linda Howe.
Oh, sure. There's no reason to lie, because I'm sure they were sitting there with a recorder of all 3 hours of conversation.
I'm sure they were. And did they have any advice for you? In other words, they obviously know your background, and they're afraid, obviously, of the connection between the information you possess and the information you could convey about these parts.
That's what I assumed to be the case.
So where does that leave you standing? Did they threaten you?
No, I don't think the organization. I've been in contact with the organization before. I took quite a number of trips over the years after I left the Air Force into Europe, and it was always a 3 to 5 hour setting session every time I came back, wanting to know exactly who I talked to, where I went, and what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, that quit about 10 or 11 years ago. And so I felt that maybe it had finally gone away. But it's one of those things that I don't think it ever goes away.
Huh. When you say lifting body, can you give us any more than that? Lifting body.
Well, basically, I'll try to use simpler terms. Lifting body could be considered an airfoil, or something that could be used in the atmosphere to create lift, such as in an aircraft, a powered aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I referred to the material from a lifting body is some of the tests that I was able to conduct over a 2-week period with the material itself. Bismuth is a very, as I call it, phenomenal product that hasn't been discussed virtually at all in the aerospace industry or in a good portion of the publications.
Well, there's a very interesting aspect to this, Dan. There was a lot of discussion about bismuth in the early 70s, and there were a number of scientific papers published leading in the directions of discussion with regard to its anti-gravitic nature and so forth and so on. And then all of a sudden, all papers and all information on bismuth simply disappeared and stopped being published, and there hasn't been anything since. And everybody we're talking to is incredibly tight-lipped about it.
Yeah, and that's interesting. There was an individual that published a series of 3 patents back in, I believe, 1971 through 1973.
That's right.
By the name of Wallace. And Wallace worked for General Electric, and he produced a series of patents that basically proved in a small scale type setup. He had the information provided on his patents is basically what I would consider test equipment, the way he had designed it and tested it. But he was pretty much able to prove that there's some very interesting properties that go with bismuth. And this is all in the public information. There's certainly nothing classified about it. Anybody can pick these patents up and look at them.
All right, Dan, we don't have much time before the bottom of the hour, but I want to ask you this. Dan, I'm perfectly willing to let you give your name on the air, your full name, if you want to. The best, you say in this fax, you're concerned for your safety and your wife and children, and I don't blame you. The reason I've gone public with this the way I have, and the reason Linda has, is for exactly that purpose. In other words, once you're public, if you're not giving away government secrets, which you are not, then you are safe. When you're not public, you're not so safe. Things can happen. And that's why I called you, to give you the opportunity to go public. So you be as public, Dan, as you want to be.
Okay, well, I think it might be better for me to just go, at least today, with my first name.
All right.
Because I'm doing some hard and careful considerations. I put together about a 20-page letter that fully describes everything that I was involved in this area back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. That will be mailed out to you, if it hasn't already been mailed, so that you have a copy of it by the end of the weekend. Okay,
my advice to you would be to get that letter off quickly, and I will hope that it makes it here. At times I've not had a lot of luck with the U.S. mail, so you might pick some sort of carrier, some sort of private carrier. That's just a bit of advice. Dan, hold on. We're at the bottom of the hour. We'll come right back to you, all right? All right. My guest is somebody we'll call Dan and not give the rest of his name right now. He is a scientist, a physicist, and he knows a lot more than he's told so far about what we call Art's parts. We'll be back to Dan in a moment. Remember, the new photograph of whatever that airplane is up on my webpage now. That's www.artbell.com. Please go take a look.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. Now, we take you back to the past on Art Bell Somewhere in Time.
Obviously a very nervous Dan, we will call him Dan, a physicist who worked with the Air Force and back engineered some pretty black project stuff, knows about Art's parts. Today, the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, knocked on his door. He's been helping us. So, we'll get back to Dan in just a moment. Back now to Dan at an undisclosed location. Dan, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Dan, I'm just a talk show host, I have an interest in these matters, but I'm not a scientist. And all of this has fallen in on me like a house of bricks. I mean, it really just has been kind of a heavy load over the last few months. And it's driving me crazy, frankly. People keep sending me things. I've got a recent shipment of some strange materials that killed fowl, and I'm telling you, it's driving me nuts. Look, none of us, well, I won't say none of us, but most of us listening are not scientists as you are. So can you give us a layman's version of what you think about this bismuth material? What is it? How does it do what you theorize or think it does?
Excuse me. Bismuth is, it shows some very interesting characteristics, specifically in the area of magnetic permeability, the ability to absorb magnetic waves. There's basically two ways that you can think of things moving, as either a wave or a particle, and that would get us into quantum mechanics and into relativity, which we don't want to get into. But bismuth is somewhat like hydrogen in that it's what's considered diamagnetic, or it tends to expel or push away a magnetic field or reduce a magnetic field that comes around it. And you're right, it's probably very, very confusing to people. But the bottom line is, if with something that has an interesting magnetic permeability, is if you connect it to an electric charge, there has a tendency to actually repel the magnet, somewhat like a magnet pointing towards a compass, where the compass will always point to north.
Sure.
Diamagnetic material will basically not do that. And it won't work like a piece of iron, in the way iron works with a compass. It has a completely different effect you could almost consider, in some tests that have been run, primarily back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, that the magnetic characteristics of bismuth repel magnetic fields. It tends to push them away.
What could you imagine the purpose of layering it with magnesium?
Well, magnesium is a much lighter material.
Yes.
Bismuth is a very, very heavy material. It's only, 2 protons less than lead in weight, basically.
Right.
But it's also very elastic, which means it will stretch to 400 or 500% its size. Now, this gets down to an interesting point. If we assume that we have a body, let's call it an airplane wing,
right,
that has a layer that's a half-inch thick of bismuth intermixed with magnesium, and it's interlaced where you have 2 parts of bismuth to 20 parts of magnesium.
Right.
Well, if it was being used, let's say it was on a jet and it was flying in a war zone, maybe like back in the Vietnam era, and a bullet was shot at it, and the bullet actually penetrated the surface, what would happen is the bismuth would extend to about 500% its size, so it would go from like 2 microns to about 10 microns before it would break. But with a 20 micron separation, it wouldn't allow one layer to interfere with an adjoining layer. And by setting up 30 or 40 layers of this stuff, all of a sudden you can have what would look like from a electrical standpoint a continuous piece of bismuth. Now, because of its mass, you need to intermix it with something that's a little bit lighter than itself. Well, if we would assume that there was a very, very large charge placed on the bismuth, and I'm talking in the neighborhood of 1 to 2 million volts, positive charge,
right,
one could theorize that you could create a situation where the magnetic fields would become very, very small or actually become negative.
In other words, you could actually repel gravity.
Theoretically, it might be possible. Now, Einstein says that can't be done. In all the work he did, he released the last major release from Einstein was actually in 1929 when he released his unified field theory, which was basically pulled back quite early after he had released it because he saw some major holes in that. And there were probably 2 holes that I can think of. One of it was in that time period, there was very little known about electron spin, or actually how the electrons spin in their orbits. And that would have had to have been considered in his unified field theory, and I'm sure it wasn't. So to correct his unified field theory for that, it would take it would not be a simple job to rewrite the work itself. In fact, it would be a very arduous task to rewrite the electric field theory. But another portion of it is one of the things that's always remained constant since Newton's time is that gravity is a fixed value. It has a fixed gravity has a certain fundamental basis that's supposedly not changeable.
Right.
And so all of his work also considered the fact that gravity is a constant. Well, if it was found that gravity was in fact not necessarily constant, so that you could make it scalable or a scalar type value, then that opens up the whole world to do some calculations and to rewrite virtually all the work that's taken place since the 20s forward, or actually since Newton's time forward.
So when you saw this material, or the cross-sections of it, the electronic scanning microscope cross-sections, it was a jolt to you?
Well, it became much more apparent as the time that I started working with it and started theorizing what it could be. You know, I kept trying to find out more and more information of what it was. I've been asked if I've ever seen a UFO, and I can say in terms of ever seeing an unidentified flying object that I haven't. But that kind of leaves the door open if the right questions are asked of whether it is or whether it isn't.
Yes.
So,
all right. Look, did the DIA mention me?
No. They mentioned they were just interested if I had any conversations with a scientific journalist on the East Coast.
How, yeah.
Yeah.
That figures. Well, you know she's been everywhere. She's been to all the rare metals people, the best of them in the country. She's been to Sandia, I believe, Los Alamos. She's been all the very best people, and either they won't talk or they say they just plain don't know. I mean, all the people who might manufacture something like this or might have either haven't or say they can't. One of the two. So we're really stuck with this. Where do you think we go from here?
Well, I've given Linda quite a number of contacts back into Sandia and back into Los Alamos, getting around some of the people that she's talked to, because she's talked primarily to the heads of the departments.
Right.
And I'll be really frank, Los Alamos, it's my opinion that Los Alamos and Sandia both are playing games with her.
Yeah, that may be.
I re-reviewed all of your tapes that she had done over the last few days. You have them all on your webpage.
I do, yes.
And it became very apparent during about 3 of those conversations that they don't know, or they're not saying. It turns out that, for example, if you go into Los Alamos and start doing database searches, that they have about 20 papers discussing bismuth. And you can be quite certain that there's at least that many, if not more, that are classified top secret or above.
Well, they wanted our samples, Dan, and there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell we're going to send them back there. I just know we would never see them again.
No, you wouldn't. As a matter of fact, they'd probably give their eye teeth right now to get the samples that you have.
Well, they've been asking. So, I don't know where to go with this. I want to protect you. I don't want anything to happen to you, Dan, and you sounded, particularly in the first half hour, pretty scared. Is that accurate?
That was very accurate. Well, yeah, I think I have a right to be somewhat nervous.
Yeah, I do too. So, you think about it, Dan. If and when you decide you want to be completely public, which I honestly consider to be your best protection, I told you that off the air.
Okay.
You think about it, and when you want to go completely public, let's do it.
Okay, I think the advice that you had given me was to go public, and I think the time is probably virtually imminent that I need to do that.
Yeah, so do I.
I want to make sure that some information that I've sent out is in other people's hands, and once it is, then my concerns drop off considerably.
Well, what I did with the materials that I got is they are geographically scattered around the country in the hands of science people and so forth and so on in such a diversified manner that it's now too late for them to get control of this.
Well, that's good.
Where do you think, just speculatively, Dan, that this is going to lead?
The search?
Yeah.
I think we can perhaps find some hardcore answers that people have been asking for the last 50 years. It's going to certainly take more than me, because one person can be so easily discounted and trashed. It doesn't take much to get rid of one individual. But I think if some other people can come forward, then we might be able to get full disclosure on what's going on.
Dan, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your testimony, and be safe.
I will be.
Take care, my friend.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. That's Dan at an undisclosed location. So now maybe all of you get a sense of what I'm in the middle of here, that I'm not all that happy about being in the middle of. A lot of people would say, wow, how exciting, getting these parts. Yeah? For a little while, it was pretty exciting. But you have no idea what this has led to. Now, I've received a number of other faxes. The latest we'll review at 1 o'clock. Here is a typical fax. Art, I have examined your photograph of the alleged B-24. After performing some enhancement using my PhotoMagic software, I would agree. The plane is definitely a World War II vintage B-24 Liberator. I am familiar with the plane from having built models of it and many other aircraft from that era. Listening to you on KHOW Denver from Robert. So the mystery continues and deepens. Back to open lines now. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Art, this is Gordon in Columbia, Mo.
Hi, Gordon.
How you doing tonight?
Well, you've been listening.
Yeah, I have. This is, it's kind of shocking in a lot of ways, I guess. I mean, you know how that is.
Yes.
In fact, I've had a completely shocking day, so.
Oh, you have?
Oh, well, I live here, in Columbia, and it's pretty peaceful, I guess. It's not Mayberry or anything like that, but, the guy next door to me got murdered this morning.
Oh, my God.
And apparently I slept right through it, the gunshots and everything.
How did it occur? I mean, somebody just walk in and shoot him?
Yeah, apparently a couple guys came to the door, and I guess he answered, and they blasted him. It was probably a thing with drugs or something like that. I don't know. I tell you what, I'm kind of a late night owl. I sit and listen to your show and blah blah blah. And after your show will go off here in Columbia or in a news break, I'll go to the kitchen to get a drink of water, and these folks are outside partying, at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So, they end up getting shot, or at least one of them did, and the other one got shot twice, like grazed while he was running away.
Well, one good thing about it.
What's that?
They got the right house.
Well, that's interesting. That's what my roommate and I discussed. It was kind of, we thought, well, and then, and I was going to tell you one thing about this, the whole, Filegate muck,
yes.
That whole mess.
Sure.
The thing is, if somebody was to break into your house and, then they get caught, I don't think the police are going to care one way or the other if they were there to read you a bedtime story or there to kill you. I think the point is they broke in, and you really give a lot of slack to these people that, it's cool that they dig Bill Clinton, I guess, but, you gotta just learn when to, by the way, it's not the Republicans that put the name Gate behind everything, it's the media. I mean, it was the Iran
that's
Gate.
right. Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, you kind of give a little bit too much slack there. I mean, wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong. He got the files. It doesn't matter what he did with them.
No, I don't give any slack at all. My only comment has been that there has been such a battering over things that have really, for good or bad, gone nowhere, that the public is damn near numb about it all. And so Filegate came along and they went, it's just one more thing.
Yeah, I guess you're right there. But
I think it's horrible. Absolutely horrible, but I'm beginning to realize now why the public is not engaged. They've just been, it's like, to me, the Kennedy assassination. There are so many theories, so many conspiracy theories, that if somebody were to go to a podium and announce the real truth tomorrow, when it was all said and done, it would just be one more theory.
Yeah, well, okay, well, here's one last thing then. I mean, why isn't something like this recognized where we've got these human rights violations all over China? I mean, everybody knows about that, and the tank there at Tiananmen Square, or
yes.
it was.
Yes.
And, still they have favored nation status, and people want it taken away because there are human rights violations. And Clinton and the administration, and really, I guess, Congress, everybody's to blame in the government that, is in that part of that the foreign affairs type thing. I guess that would be the administration, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they don't, stand up and say anything until some CDs are copied illegally. And then all of a sudden we're going to take away their status. Like, money is the only thing. Really, I mean, that's a clear definition. Money is the only thing that made us take a look at China.
You're absolutely correct.
Well, all right. Hey, you have a good night. Thanks for having a good show.
Thank you, and take care. Sure, money motivates. Who's kidding who? Money is what makes the world go round, baby. And nobody denies that. And one of our biggest export items are motion pictures, music, CDs, videos, you name it, we export it, that kind of intellectual product. And when they begin to dip into that to the tune of billions of dollars, you bet we react. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. This is Nonpartisan Tim in San Diego.
Hello there. Get good and close to your phone there, Mr. Nonpartisan Tim.
I'm into it.
That's good.
This guy you've had on for the last hour?
Yep.
I vote trash.
Well, on what basis?
Well, you never verify these guys' credentials or anything.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I have verified his credentials. I simply have not aired them, by his request.
This isn't like the guy who was talking about suspect number 3 in the Oklahoma City bombing last?
No, this man has been in communication now for some time with Linda Howe and myself, and I chose not to air anything about him until I got this business on his visit from the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, today. At that point, I phoned him and I said, "Look, you're better off going public. You'll be safer." So I asked him to go public. He did not ask to come on the air.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. But
And with regard to his credentials, we are well aware of them and have been for some time.
Okay, so I can trust in your judgment that this guy is legitimate.
As best as I've been able to determine, yes.
Oh, okay. Hey, I was watching on C-SPAN today the convention for the Libertarian Party.
Not Ron Brown.
Harry Brown.
Harry Brown is the nominee, and we'll have him back on the air soon.
Yeah, if these people that are always calling up and bitching about the government, if half of them would just take the time to listen to what these people, the libertarians, have to say.
I know.
I think we'd see some change right now.
Well, I would say that is correct. And this, I heard Harry earlier saying, look, the big two parties could not have done us a bigger favor this year. We've got two inside career politicians. It's our best chance yet. I saw that interview on CNN, and he is correct. The only thing I would say is, darn it all, if the libertarians would only modify a little bit of their ideology, a lot of Americans, a lot of particularly conservatives, would embrace it that otherwise are hesitant to.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I'm not real knowledgeable on all their platforms, but I didn't see anything during that televised convention that sounded so out there, and none of it. It sounded exactly like what everybody that calls your show and says they wish would happen, that's what they're saying.
I quite agree. I quite agree. The only sticking points for me are, for example, in the area of drugs, but we have talked about that many times. At any rate, I'm in touch with the Harry Brown people. They called me prior to the convention. I said, let's see if he gets nominated. If he does, call us back. We'll have him on the air, and so it shall be.
The trip back in time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More Somewhere in Time coming up. Somewhere in Time with Art Bell continues, courtesy of Premier Networks.
And as promised, she barely made it in for the room cloned, I think. Ramona is up on AOL. My wife is on AOL. In the chat room, known as the Grassy Knoll. Interesting name, huh? What you do is go on AOL, hit keyword up at the top, and just type in the name Art Bell. With or without a space. It will take you to the right area. Then you check on Grassy Knoll, and boom, you're in the chat room. So she's up there right now, hopefully answering not embarrassing questions. Now, callers trying to label you from Gary in San Diego. I believe we are much alike in our views. When I am asked where I stand on the political spectrum, I respond a conservative libertarian. This is not to be confused with a Republican Party platform or the tinge of chaos and lack of values that may follow a libertarian government. After all, there are moderate Republicans, conservative Democrats, Reagan Democrats, etc. Try this on for size and see if it fits. I don't know if any label fits me, as you can well tell by now. Art, if you ever decide to retire from radio, I can see you and Ramona in bib overalls and straw hats running Art Bell's Emporium of Weirdness on Highway 395, the Celestial Highway. Actually, it's the, I think it's the, what do they call that, 395? It's the, extraterrestrial highway, isn't it? Think of it, Art's Parts, the Demon Seeds, and now the chicken-killing chaff from New York. All on display for the edification and amazement of the masses of Art Bell fans, yeah. The Museum of Weird, maybe with a two-headed snake thrown in. Dear Mr. Bell, will you kindly reread the part of the letter regarding the radiation of light from the bismuth sample? It's very important. Well, actually, it was from the bismuth magnesium zinc sample, and it simply said that after the crash, glowed for 3 hours. And that wasn't from Dan, that was from our anonymous friend who sent the samples. Dear Art, the most simple explanation for the chicken-killing foil stuff you just described is chaff. Yes, we know. Military aircraft have dumped jillions of tons of it in exercises and war since World War II, even gets shot out of cannons. I'm surprised an old ham like you didn't recognize it. Well, it doesn't look like chaff, sir. Chaff is simply tinfoil, yes, I know. But it shouldn't kill chickens. Maybe if they pecked at it and choked, more likely the farmer was just trying to get his pound of flesh out of the government after getting a bunch of chaff dumped on him. But who knows? Yes, you're right. It doesn't look like chaff. I've seen chaff, sir. And this does not look like chaff. And then this, regarding Art's parts, if the parts are what we believe them to be, as advertised, that is, with the enormous risk the government took on to cover up an event of such significance with all the people and possible security leaks involved, they surely would have a game plan for what is happening now. Interesting times, best Will. Interesting times indeed, Will. And the plan, for all I know, I'm part of the plan. I'm not surprised that Dan got a visit from the security people. I'm not surprised at all. Because he is the link, or at least I could see how he could be a link, to closing the gap between the information we have and what we think it is. So it makes sense. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Yeah, good morning, Art.
Good morning.
By the way, congratulations on a good webpage. Did you do that yourself?
No, not at all. That's Keith Boland's doings. I contribute, of course, a lot of the material that goes up there, but Keith puts it all together.
Well, tell him he does a good job.
Well, I do that all
impressive.
the time. Yes, it is.
Now, the fellow you had on earlier, he said that Einstein worked out the unified field theory. Correct me if I'm wrong. My impression was that that remained unresolved at the time of his death.
Well, I'm not sure myself. I think he thought he had it, and then, as Dan said, I think he backed away from it to some degree. So I'm not very clear on that myself. I'm not a scientist.
Well, maybe somebody out there knows and could call in and resolve this question, because that didn't sound right.
Sure. Where are you?
Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tuscaloosa. All right, we'll see what the audience says.
Now another thing, that you said you disagree with the, Libertarian Party in regards to the drug war, and, I'd like to, disagree with you.
That's fine. If it were up to me, I'll give it to you straight. I'd decriminalize marijuana, and I would take several very hard steps to try to eradicate the harder drugs, which I consider to be very dangerous.
Well, I agree with you. They are very dangerous. However, outlawing them in no way can eradicate them. What it can do is raise the price, which brings in the criminal element, as well as corruption.
Yes, I know.
And
I know, but if
creates a great deal of property.
I know, sir, but if you're going to go for what you're talking about, we covered this yesterday, then you've got to go all the way. It's either all or nothing.
I agree. I would say it's all.
It's all. Well, I wouldn't, because I would say the result of all would be 2 or 3 times the number of addicts, or even more than we have now.
Actually, history does not bear that out. They said the same thing.
Yes, it does, sir.
With alcohol.
Yeah, it does, sir. And if you look at what occurred in China and other nations that have legalized it, Needle Park in Switzerland, whatever you want to look at, in areas where it's suddenly been free, open, and unbothered, the addicts have begun to add up to the point where in China they had to begin to behead people.
Well, actually, I've done some research on this. In regards with Needle Park and anything of that nature, I think what you're talking about is a more highly visible problem rather than a more prevalent problem.
Well, what about China?
Well, what about it? China never legalized anything.
The opium, sir.
They were forced by the British. That was a case of something being aggressively marketed, not a free market. Or a forced market.
All right, thank you, but I think it's ludicrous to imagine that if opium and crack and heroin and PCP and all the rest of them were openly allowed, even if not condoned by the government, openly allowed to be sold, transferred, whatever, you would end up with a lot of addicts. I don't think there's any magic. You don't have to be a rocket scientist for that one. And so my position is that marijuana should be decriminalized and that the other drugs then should be separated from marijuana and the hemp product, and we should go after them like crazy. Go after them where they're grown. Go after them as they come into the country. Go after them at the street level in every way we can. Then you would have a legitimate, in my opinion, a legitimate a war to wage. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yes. I would like to know how he's generating the profits for the experiments that he's doing.
Who are you referring to, sir?
Art Bell?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not generating any profits, and
how are you paying for them?
What testing has been done and will be done comes out of my pocket and that of Linda Howe.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow, that's right, yeah.
Have you asked for any contributions that people might?
No.
Have you thought about that?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just going to do what has to be done.
Well, I was going to ask you, is there any way that I could possibly send you some money?
No. Please don't.
Okay.
Okay, I appreciate the offer. I really do, thank you, but no.
All right, well, just keep up the good work and be careful.
Yeah, take care, my friend. No, we'll just do what has to be done. I'm not all that happy about it, but, you go along a trail, and you get volunteers, scientists who volunteer to do a lot of very serious work, and it's been done for free, electronic scanning and all the rest of it. But for more involved tests, which I don't want to discuss right now, there's a charge, and so you do what you have to do. We'll be back in a moment. Oh, as usual, my wife is on AOL right now in the Grassy Knoll chat room in the Periscope area. And as usual, there's a fake Ramona Bell in there. Now, let me tell you, that is a fake. It's probably some big old fat-bellied guy with a beard who went in there with the name Ramona Bell. Well, wrong. That is a fake because my wife is in there under my name, Art Bell. So that the name Art Bell is really Ramona. She's the one on the computer. The one who says Ramona Bell, that's total fake. That is a fake, and that is a problem, and that's a low-life kind of person on the Internet, low-life kind of person in cyberspace, those who would assume the name of others. So my wife is the one that says Art Bell. The one that says Ramona Bell is a low-life. Just wanted you all to know. She's up there now on AOL, not actually on the Internet, in AOL in the Periscope area. And you can get there just by going on AOL and enter keyword, the keyword category, and enter Art Bell. It'll take you to the Periscope area, and then just put in check Grassy Knoll, and boom, you'll be in the chat room. But I just wanted you to know that is a fraudulent Ramona Bell. The real one is operating with my name, Art Bell. So when you see Art Bell, it's really Ramona. Now, having said that, let me tell you a little more about what I don't know about women. And that's quite significant. Absolutely fresh flowers is what I do know. What I don't know is why it affects women the way it does. I know with Ramona it works. She gets flowers, and it's just an emotional blast. And with absolutely fresh flowers, it's a bigger emotional blast because you get more flowers. This giant triangular box just packed full of flowers. Oh, I'll tell you, in tight bunches, they come straight from a flower farm, and so they cut you this magnificently, exquisitely large shipment. They put a card in there with your message, handwritten, and your name at the bottom, flower, preservative, and next day delivery anywhere in the contiguous U.S. of A. You call now. They deliver tomorrow during the week. The number is 1-800-562-6438. That's 1-800-562-6438. Anybody who would fake their name like that, as far as I'm concerned, in cyberspace, is a true bottom feeder. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, sir. Art.
Yes, sir.
Jeremy in Florence, Alabama. Your third call from Alabama today.
How you doing?
Just fine. Listen, a quick story for you. I think you'll get a kick out of this. I'm actually from a rural area here in Alabama, and the largest industry in the area is poultry. And that being the case, we have a large population of Spanish immigrants that come in to work in that industry.
Yes, sir.
Standing in my front yard yesterday, and one of them come rolling by in a car and wants to know where a local goat farm is. Now, I don't know if all your readers are familiar with the Spanish culture, but they barbecue the goat and eat the goat.
Yeah.
I just kind of in a half-hearted chuckle just said, no, we have no idea, but go ask the local chupacabra.
I knew it had something. I knew it had something to do with the chupacabra. I knew it.
They looked at me in terror and just never said a word and left. I thought you might get a kick out of it, but also, I understand that you did serve in the Vietnam War.
I did.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to make it through last night, but I wish you and every other American veteran, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It's very kind of you. Thank you, sir. And there haven't been a lot of that. I didn't, fortunately, thank you very much. I did not serve a full tour in Nam. I was at Kadeen Air Base on Okinawa, and when the first casualties began coming out of Vietnam, they were flown directly to the continental U.S. I mean, they were flown out of Saigon directly to the continental U.S., and the newspaper got hold of that fact. And it wasn't a bright idea, but that's what we did at the beginning of the conflict. And when the press got hold of it, quickly from the top, the word came down, can't do this. Minimal treatment on a long flight like that is not the way this is going to happen. So at the beginning, we started flying them then to Clark Air Base in the Philippines, and I TDY'd there. And then to Da Nang. And so that was, and I was there for several months. That was my experience with Vietnam. Quite sufficient, thank you. I was a medic, and it's a kind of a funny thing about those years. You don't want to remember, and yet you do constantly. It's one of those things that your mind sort of holds at bay, the horrors, and there were a lot of horrors. So your mind holds all that at bay. Sort of a protective mechanism, even after all these years. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Art. How you doing there?
Okay.
Good. This is Dave from Eagle Point, Oregon.
Yes, sir.
And I went and saw Independence Day today.
And?
I thought it was a drag, to be honest with you.
What?
I thought it was a drag.
You didn't like it?
Not at all, no.
Oh, you're one of the few.
I was about a 2-star out of a 4, I think. It was pretty average.
Pretty average. Boy, yeah. You're really one of the few and the disgusted. I haven't heard too many like that. Most people have been very excited.
I'll be honest with you, it goes from exciting, scientific, to love scenes, and back and forth.
Well, you gotta have love scenes. I mean, if the end of the world is coming, not that I know that it is, but if it's coming, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of love scenes.
Well, it's hard to get a fix on what the movie's about.
I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, if saucers are coming down and blowing up the White House, I know that much and a lot more. Cities are melting. You know, you're going to go out in a blaze of love.
Well, I'm trying to get a fix on the movie, really, to be honest with you. It just bounces around from being exciting.
Well, now, I don't want to give away the movie because a lot of people have yet to enjoy it or be disgusted by it, whatever the case is. But I guess I'm going to have to go see it soon. I can't hold out much longer.
I think you're best.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. So there's one who didn't like it. Well, it's like anything else. ID4 or any of the materials that I've received or the scientific inquiry, there's always a critic for everything. And so you just do the best you can, and some are going to like whatever you do, and some are going to hate whatever you do. That's something I've learned doing this job. When you talk to millions of people at one time, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, there will be critics, there will be people who will not believe it. That's why I say no matter what kind of smoking gun for the existence of aliens or anything else that you would come up with, we are now in a day and age where it's not going to be believed by everybody anyway. So you do what you can. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, sir. This is Robert in San Francisco.
Yes, sir.
And I haven't seen Independence Day yet. However, I must say that from what the previews see, that it seems to be, well, I don't want to give away anything from what I know, but I haven't seen it. But it seems like to me that they've gotten away from appealing to a story in a lot of the recent films that I've seen, because sci-fi is making a slight comeback on films. They've made a comeback towards appealing to popcorn eaters instead of making a good story like they did.
Well, hey, I'm a popcorn eater.
Oh, I know, but it seems like that in the past they didn't have to do that.
Well, now you're criticizing without having seen it. I'm not sure that's fair.
That's true.
I'm not sure that's fair, and maybe there is a story that my last caller simply didn't grasp.
I wanted to hear from him whether or not he was a fan of the medium anyway, being sci-fi, so on and so forth. But he didn't say, so I didn't really have a chance to reflect.
I can tell you this. Earlier tonight, I saw on television that ID4 has now surpassed all records for, as long as it's been out. It's knocked down every single record, including Mission Impossible's recent record. And people are calling me and telling me they're going back to it again and again and again. You don't go back to movies unless you really, really like them.
That's true. That's very true, especially repeated viewing. Okay, well, you have a good night. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for the call, and have a good morning. That's one test. I'm not a person who, generally watches a movie more than once. Ramona does. She'll do that all the time. Occasionally, though, if a movie is really, really good, I will watch it more than once. And I've had quite a few people in their personal review of ID4 say they're going back tomorrow. So when you start to hear that, it's got to be something. Anyway, we're going to break here at the bottom of the hour. I'm Art Bell, and you are listening to the most unpredictable radio program on the air. It's called Coast to Coast AM. Day to day, never the same. And that's exactly the way I like it, and apparently it's the way you like it too. Glad you're here. We'll be right back.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 5th, 1996.
Well, everybody, are you having a nice weekend, a holiday, a good long holiday weekend? We're here live, in case any of you are wondering. This is not a repeat. We're here live, and we will, by the way, be here live Sunday with Greenland as well. Coming this Sunday, should be interesting, Kurt Southerly, author of Strange Encounters, UFOs, Aliens, and Monsters Among Us. That'll be fun. I like monsters. I really like monsters. Anyway, here is a fax typical of that which I've received regarding the second hour interview this morning. It's really typical. From Dick in Hawaii. Who do you consider the best actor of our time? Robert De Niro, Sean Penn, Nicolas Cage, they're all great. I doubt any of them could call you as an act and have the same underlying quiver of fear that I heard in your caller Dan tonight. Dan came across as totally legit. The guy was scared to death, and I don't know any actor who can fake that tone of absolute fear. That was not some guy calling Art Bell to put over a hoax. I believe the guy, and I wish him luck. Typical. Thank you. That's Dick in Hawaii. Anyway, back to the lines. First time caller line. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hello?
Hello.
Is Art Bill?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Art, I wanted to call you. I'm first time calling David from California.
Yes, sir.
Well, this last week you had a program about electromagnetic pulse.
That's right, yes.
I was stationed at Fort Huachuca, Arizona in 73 and 74, which is a strange base in itself because of the 11th signal group there.
Sure.
Well, they mounted a pulsator out at the Blacktail Canyon site, and they shot that pulsator off one time.
Right.
And it shut down all the radios, TV stations, everything as far north as Tucson.
I believe it. I'll tell you, they're doing a lot of experimentation in that area. There's no question about it.
Well, while I was there, they made them take down the big pulsator and put up a little one. And this little one was only about 1/20th the size of the first one they put up. And when they fired it, it shut down the same radio stations and everything, including El Paso, Texas. Well, anyway, another subject I want to talk to you about. I've been to Russia. You're going to enjoy yourself.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to see the classy area that, everybody, the tourists get to see, which is St. Petersburg, the old Russia. And then, Moscow, which, I am looking forward to with a little bit of trepidation. It's kind of strange days in Moscow now, as you know. And, it should be worth seeing.
Oh, it's very, very much worth seeing. I went to the ballet when I was there and also went to the circus. Don't miss that if you get a chance to go.
I'll do all I can.
If you're going to Germany, I would suggest you see the German Industrial Museum in Munich.
All right, I'll see what I can do. Yes, we'll be in Germany.
Well, the first chance I get to call you on your Sunday show, Dreamland.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you a call, and I'll tell you where you can send somebody to see a UFO.
All right, my friend. Thank you. That should be interesting. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
The little metal box, it turns out to be an engine component.
Call toll-free 1-800-618-8255. Oh, well, I just bleeped that out. Goodbye. No telling the ends of stuff. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. This is Ed in Federland, California.
How you doing?
Okay, a couple of things. First about the Art's parts.
Yes, sir.
He was talking about it possibly something to do with the armor on...
Not armor.
Not armor.
Not armor.
Oh.
But the coating. The outside coating.
Oh, the coating, because I know there's a certain type of armor called a Chobham armor, and it's used on tanks and I think in aircraft too, and it has bismuth in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be interesting to check that out. But I was thinking about a couple of good candidates for an independent political party. The Chupacabra for blood-sucking politicians, and Bigfoot to stamp out government corruption.
Very, very good, sir. I particularly like Bigfoot to stamp out government corruption. That would take big feet, all right, wouldn't it? First time caller line, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. It's Pat from Canyon Country.
Hi, Pat.
Art, I have to trash ID4.
Why?
It was okay on a special effects scale. It was awesome, but on an acting scale, the male actors were just hokey. Is the best way I can explain it.
Why do you think that so many people have so many different opinions? I mean, some people thought it was superb, even in the acting category. Others, like you, have said.
I think because, I really like sci-fi films. I used to be a member of the Sci-Fi Academy,
mm-hmm.
and I wanted to really like it. And the build-up was great and everything, and the special effects were just literally awesome. But it was such a letdown when.
Now don't tell the end.
No, I won't tell any part of it. But it was such a letdown when, like certain roles, like you expect a pilot to act a certain way, even when he's. I mean, besides being off duty, but in certain official capacities, you expect them to act a certain way, and when they're acting like they do on Fresh Prince or any TV show, that's like a comedy, it's not realistic, and it's like, oh man, there's no way they would do that. There's no way they would do that. Even in a movie like Star Wars, which is total fantasy, you go, okay, that perhaps this is believable, perhaps that's believable.
Star Wars was not meant to be believable.
Well, I mean, let's say giving the genre the
for that matter, ID4 is not meant to be believable. It's just meant to be entertainment.
Yeah, I know, but you'll see what I mean. When you see it, you'll see the acting, especially on the male characters. The female characters acted pretty well, okay, but the male characters, they're just a little too hokey for the.
All right, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll see. Sounded a little sexist. Female actors did okay, huh? Well, now you see what I mean. There are millions of you out there and millions of different taste buds. So, you're going to get millions of different opinions. But the fact remains, ID4 is breaking all records right now, shattering them. And I expect it will continue to do so. Will it be recognized at the end of the year by awards? I doubt it. I doubt it. Perhaps in the special effects category. But from what I've been hearing, I doubt it. They tend not to do that with science fiction movies for some reason. I don't know why. Because the American appetite for them has done nothing but grow. But you see what I mean about all the different opinions? It's kind of like when I get my mail. I get a lot of mail, hundreds and hundreds of letters per week. Probably an average of about 200 a day now. And I monitor my mail very carefully, and if there's not a mixture of criticism and praise and I love you and I hate you, then I know something is wrong. And so I actually look for that. It's got to be there. And that's the way the public reacts to things, and that's fine. The only problem that it presents these days is when you're trying to look into something seriously. No matter what you present, there'll be every flavor of opinion and criticism that you can imagine. And it tends to obscure pure research when you're trying to do it. You just do the best you can. That's all you can do. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
On the air.
On the air.
West of the Rockies.
Turn off your radio.
Okay.
Good. Now, where are you?
I live in Sacramento. My name is Brent.
Yes, Brent. What can we do for you?
Am I on the air now?
I already told you you're on the air, Brent.
Okay, excuse me. Yeah, I fully believe in, the man, he sounded scared to me, and Dan, and, my dad, he retired out of the Army as a special expert in a lot of stuff, and he won't talk to me about it. He just, but he gave me a book not too long ago. I haven't located it yet, but there's a short story about Bigfoot in there that they killed back in 1844.
Really?
Yeah, up in the...
Well, if you ever get a copy of that, be sure to pass it along to me.
He was a leader of a tribe, Indian tribe.
Huh?
And he could speak, he could talk, but he couldn't ride a horse. They couldn't find a horse big enough.
All right, well, I'll look forward to getting something from you on that. Sounded a little strange. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Well, I'm calling you from Guyman, Oklahoma, and listening on the blowtorch out of Omaha.
Oh, yes.
God, they are powerful, aren't they?
They absolutely are, yes.
I want to talk about it. I don't want to give the movie away, ID4. I really didn't want to go, and I had a friend told me, you just go see it. Fascinating. I think all you people that are calling it bad or bad acting, just don't call the Art Bell Show. This is a pro ID4 show.
No,
we don't want...
That's not true. No, I'll take all opinions here.
But I want to talk about the movie and kind of the premise. Do you think, and this was a point that my wife brought up.
Uh-oh. He was obviously on a cellular phone, and we just lost him. Sorry about that, sir. I think you dropped out of a cell and just sort of dropped into the ozone there. First time caller line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Where are you?
Oh, I'm in Las Vegas. We're neighbors, Art.
Oh, we sure are. Just over the mountain.
Listening on the hot one.
840 KVEG.
Art, I got 2 points.
Okay.
One with your, I didn't hear the interview, but I've heard the discussion since with Dan.
I think, now I'm trying to think, KVEG on Saturday morning, I'm not sure if they'll repeat that or not, because it was in the second hour. Maybe.
Okay, well, I didn't catch it anyway, but if something should happen to that man.
Yes, sir.
Would you come forward and announce who he was and whatnot?
You better believe it.
Okay.
And that's something that anybody out there who's considering something like that had better bear in mind.
Great. I wanted to hear you say that because I agree with you that publicity and public attention is the best protection.
That's what I think. This is something I thought over before I ever began going public with all this in the first place. It began to scare the hell out of me.
Well, good for you. I mean, not that you were scared, but that you put yourself on the line and step forward because publicity
I think so, yeah.
My other point, Art, is you were mentioning the other night possibly a replacement for Hillary.
I was?
Was just briefly. You meant you go through so much stuff in the course of an evening. Maybe another first lady could come along.
Well, I think that if Whitewater's going anywhere, it's going to the first lady. Now that leads to speculation, sir, that the president would be faced with a wife in trouble. And what would he do? Stand by his woman? I don't know.
Well, if she does go down, I have a nominee for a new first lady.
Who would that be?
RuPaul.
Who's that?
She's the transvestite hostess or host on VH1. See, that way Bubba can have it both ways.
Goodbye, sir. Oh, my. It's getting to be late. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Eric. This is Clinton, Stevens Point, Wisconsin.
Yes, sir. How's Stevens Point, Wisconsin this morning?
Oh, it's beautiful this morning. Sun's just coming up. It's great. A couple of things. This is just, nothing real heavy, but I have a theory on the West power outage.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, remember your caller, he called in a couple of days ago, he said the aliens abducted him once a month?
I recall, yes.
And he developed a microwave weapon. Well, I think they just shut off all the power out west so they could get to him.
You think so, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I think about that power outage, seriously, for a second? Something is really, really fishy. And it relates to both outages. I've heard now 3 or is it 4 different explanations about what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the truth is, even though there's been a second failure up in the Idaho area, I don't think they know what the hell caused it.
Probably not, yeah.
And I think it's going to happen again, and I think that any system that automatically will take down a third of the nation when there's a problem is a crazy system.
Yeah, not too efficient.
Not very efficient, no. The whole idea of a grid is to stop it, stop the dominoes. It's like the dominoes are falling, and you reach out and put your hand in front of a falling domino and stop the rest from going down. That's my idea of how a grid ought to work.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to work just the other way around.
Yeah. I was wondering if I could get your fax number. My monitor's fried out and I can't go online.
You may indeed. It is area code 702.
Okay.
727-8499.
8499.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good morning.
You take care. And my email address is artbell@aol.com. That's artbell@aol.com. Easy, huh? No space in the Art and Bell. You can put a space in there if you're on AOL. If you're coming at it from anywhere else on the Internet, no space. artbell@aol.com. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello, my name is Aaron. I'm from Nashville.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, how are you doing?
Well, it's kind of a strange night, but I'm doing okay.
That's good. I just wanted to ask you, do you believe that there's like some script that we're supposed to be going by as human beings?
A script?
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes me wonder why you're into conservatism and things like that, but you seem so unordinary.
I am unordinary. I'm not... Look, people call me a conservative. I am a conservative economically. I've been an economic conservative for a lot of my life, but I'm not totally politically conservative. I'm a great mixture of many things, my friend. So you can't put me in a class with people who preach conservatism. I'm not Rush Limbaugh. I'm not G. Gordon Liddy. I'm me, and I'm a mixture of many things.
Oh, I don't think of you as that way at all. In fact, I really respect you that, you bring such diversity to everything and your topics. But what disgusts me is that the way America is, it's like they don't believe in diversity like they want to preach it.
Well...
Because, I mean, I'm a strange guy, okay? I'm into the Gothic style. I wear fishnet, whatever. And I can walk into Wendy's, yet they turn their eyes away like it's something that they're not tuned into.
Sure.
Like they're programmed to like anything that's strange that walks by. Let's turn my eyes away.
Well,
I just really feel like this world is about diversity.
The key to what I do is an open mind. I try to keep an open mind about things, and maybe that's why these things come to me. I don't know.
Well, that's good.
All right, my friend, thank you.
I really love your show to death.
Take care. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
My name is Cliff. How you doing?
I'm fine, Cliff.
Art, the reason why I'm calling is I listened to Dan earlier this evening.
Yes.
And the gentleman was genuinely scared.
I know.
I work in the communications industry. What I would suggest, Dan, if he's still listening, is Dan, if you are still listening, Dan, go and purchase any type of prepaid calling card. Now, I'm not advocating a particular brand, but what he may do is purchase not one, but two of them with enough time where he can talk to you for an hour or two.
Mm-hmm.
And use one card and then dial another number of the other card, and then he can talk to you. In other words, he can call you, Art, and keep his safety.
Well, look, his safety is guaranteed by the fact, A, that he went public, B, that he announced the security people went to see him, C, by the fact that I have his real name, D, by the fact that I have transferred it to other people. If anything happens to him, we've got his name, and his name will be immediately public.
Well, Art, God bless you for doing that. Second thing, I have seen the movie ID4, Independence Day. The inferences that they have with Roswell, it is just unreal. The movie is just, it is an e-ticket. That's the best way to put it. So,
well, that's what most people are saying. I would say 8 out of 10 people that call are raving about it, and 2 of them inevitably will call up and go, boy, I really hated it. Boy, what a foul movie. Well, I don't think so. It's breaking every record, and for a good reason.
Okay.
All right.
Well, Art, I just wanted to call in, and the man sounded so scared, and
I know, it was real. I thank you, my friend. We've got to go. Top of the hour coming up. Be right back.
The trip back in time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More Somewhere in Time coming up. Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from July 5th, 1996.
Sometimes this thing just describes my mood. You know what I mean?
You can always find me here at having one at a time. Counting flowers on the wall. That don't bother me at all.
I sure am in a strange business.
Playing solitaire till dawn with the deck of 51.
But I do love it.
Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. I don't tell me.
That's me, all right.
I've nothing to do.
Anyway, here we go again. Dear Art, as far as the power outage, if people can remember, the same thing happened in the winter of 78. The day it occurred, it was raining. I remember, because I was a police officer in San Diego. City went into a disaster emergency mode. The outage occurred up and down the West Coast in Canada. We were told the main transformer blew. Susan, listening to KVEG 840 Las Vegas. And, yes, and then one night, when I was on the air, the very same thing occurred, and it happened here. I'll never forget that. I sat in the studio at about whatever time it was, and I said, holy mackerel, what happened to the power? And then the line started going, and then everything went down. On the wild card line, you're on the air. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you see the thing about 2 weeks ago in the New York Times about the guy that had died, and they picked up a microbe that instead of being carbon-based was silicone-based?
No, I don't think I've heard that story.
Well, it was in the New York Times on a Thursday, I think about 2 weeks ago.
You're kidding.
No.
They picked up a silicon-based microbe?
Microbe. And they described it as being similar to a tapeworm.
Oh, that was in an AIDS patient.
Right.
Yes, sir. I am familiar with that story. Now, I had not heard the part about the silicon-based microbe.
Well, that's what I understood it was. And
well, if so, that's a horribly worrisome development if it's true.
Well, that's true. That's number one. Okay. Number two, I really admire the guy for coming forth in your discussion earlier this evening.
So do I.
I picked it up on out of Albuquerque.
Yes, sir.
And I'm calling from Tucson, incidentally.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm a radical Tucson John.
By the way, we're on in Tucson, on KTUC.
Right, but you're not on the first hour there. I'll pick you up at 11 o'clock there. I can pick them up better out of Albuquerque than I can out of Phoenix.
I've got you.
Okay, the other thing I wanted, did you see they are here this morning? And the one world governments must really be kind of up in arms about it a little bit. The rather large cigarette company that got taxed for $6 million, or $600 million.
$600 million, that's a lot of money. That's
for doing business, United States revenue out of country.
That's 2/3 of $1 trillion. I'm not sure that
right.
would be right.
Now, I'm fairly sure that was a correct. It was $600 million.
I'll look into that one.
And do you realize, we got in an argument some time ago, or a discussion, about if we did this to all the companies that were doing business outside of the United States, circulating American dollars, that we would pay for our national debt?
We might. I appreciate the call, sir. Particularly worrisome is that story about the AIDS patient. Yes, I'm aware of that. AIDS, because of the nature of it, a horrible disease, is going to be and is continuing to be and will increasingly be a breeding ground for all kinds of horrible things. And the possibility of something new turning up in a person infected with AIDS is, I would say, significant. In addition to that, I've got this. Rare AIDS strain found. There's a rare new strain of AIDS virus known as HIV-1 Group O. And according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, there's no way to screen for it consistently now. Great. The CDC says a woman in California is among fewer than 100 people worldwide known to have been infected with this very unusual strain. CDC says all other strains of HIV-1 have belonged to Group M. Researchers plan to refine existing HIV tests to detect the O group strain more consistently, but must do so without reducing the sensitivity of the test to the prevailing Group M strain. In other AIDS news, the UN reported that at least 1.3 million people died worldwide from AIDS or related illnesses just last year, and the HIV virus is likely to cause more than 3.1 million new infections in 1996. AIDS is a particularly frightening disease, and I, for one, have absolutely no problem with pumping all of the research money that we can get our hands on into it. It is to the benefit of all of us, and with those kinds of numbers, we had better find an answer for it soon. Now, the protease inhibitors being combined with AZT and one other drug are having an effect, positive effect, but they're very expensive, and the research needs to continue. We really need answers. We really, really need answers. We better get them soon. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Let me turn down my radio.
Do that and get good and close to your phone because you're kind of weak, sir.
Yes, sir. I just had a mouthful of popcorn at the time.
I see. Where are you?
I'm calling from Spokane, Washington, listening on the mighty 1510.
KGA?
Yes, sir. My name's Brian, and I listened to James Collier on your 4th of July broadcast.
Yes, sir.
And my goodness, perhaps it was appropriate to have such a broadcast on the 220th birthday of our nation.
I thought so.
But that just absolutely depressed the socks off of it.
I know, and I would imagine it would to many people. It depressed me, too.
Well, it made me think that, if vote fraud is that widespread, then actually we do not have a democracy, but we're living with an oligarchy, which is a government ruled by the few.
Yes.
And if that's, where the United States is at this point, then perhaps we deserve the government and all the problems that we have.
Maybe we do.
That's all I wanted to call and say, Art, and thank you for taking my call.
Appreciate your call. Thank you. That was a very serious program. And I don't know that I bought into all of it, and I don't know that I want to buy into all of it, so I bought into some of it. And you'll get to hear that. What we've been doing, so that you might know, we've been taking the very best programs, the ones that we've done in the past few months, and saving them up like little chestnuts, so that when I go on vacation, you'll get the best of it all. It should be quite a time to monitor. And rather than replaying them on the weekends, which we have done in the past, we've saved them. So when I do go on vacation, look forward to a collage. Here's what we're going to do. There will be repeats of the very best of. Generally the interview shows, not entirely, but mostly interview shows. Now, the Republican convention will be going on during a portion of the time that I'm gone. Should there be any large breaking news, the network will scratch up somebody to come on live, and they will cover that breaking news, and I would fully expect them to do that. If, as expected, the convention is basically boring, and the presumptive nominee is indeed the nominee without a bunch of raucous, then we will not interrupt the repeats, and we will be here as an alternative to the drumbeat of otherwise boring political news. So you could expect, depending on events, radio is an unsure thing, for there to be some live, if the news warrants it. Otherwise, you're going to get the best of repeats, and there's going to be some very good shows run during the time I'm in Europe. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, Art. Finally, took me all night to do it, but I got in. I'm on a cell phone right next door over in Las Vegas.
All right. Well, welcome to the program.
The name is Bruce, and luckily I'm working a double tonight, so I've got time to sit here and listen all night long.
Yes, sir.
And I hate to beat on a dead horse, but please, for everybody that's listening tonight, do everything you can to get that man to go as public as he can, as fast as he can.
Well, he's already to a great degree protected because that interview, of course, is now taped for the record. I've got the facts. I've got his real name. Others have his real name. If anything should happen to him, you can be damn sure it'll be public and they'll be held to pay.
Man, this guy, he's something else. I mean, it took guts to do that.
Yep.
Incidentally, you are familiar with the capital of the Kingdom of NYE, are you not?
Of course.
Okay. If I mentioned Warm Springs, would you know where I'm talking about?
Of course.
All right, sir. Then that's all I'm going to say tonight. But if I sent you a fax on UFOs and sent you my number, would you return the call?
Well, I might. It depends on the nature of the fax.
Depends on the nature of the fax and the information I offer, because it's to do with that area and the Sandia area down there, if you know what I mean.
I, of course, know what you mean, yes.
Past the refinery.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this goes back to the 60s, but it is in reference to UFOs, not Art's parts.
Well, there may not be a discernible difference. We'll find out.
I'm beginning to think and try to read between the lines. Maybe I'm wrong, but a lifting body or lifting device says a lot of things.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much for the call, and you have a good morning in Las Vegas. A lot of listeners there. The mighty 840 KVEG in Las Vegas. Hi, Art. I'm using a fax because your line's busy. Yeah, right. Here in Seattle, Independence Day came out last Tuesday. I saw it with a couple of friends, and I left the theater completely breathtaken. I couldn't believe what an amazing movie it was. I was so inspired by the movie, actually, that this preceding evening, I went to the drive-in to see it a second time, and afterwards, the audience wouldn't leave, so they showed it again. That's an amazing testament from Al up in the Seattle area. I didn't know they still had drive-ins. Do they still have drive-ins? My goodness. I haven't seen a drive-in in so long. They don't have them here. Maybe they do. I haven't seen one. Maybe they've got them in Las Vegas, I'm not sure, but I thought drive-ins were mostly a thing of the past. I remember many a good night at drive-in, and there's a lot of things about those nights I also don't remember, like a lot of the movies that I was supposed to be there watching. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay.
I'm a first-time caller.
Yes, sir. Where are you?
I'm in Denver, Colorado.
Denver, K-How country.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
But I'm not originally from Denver. I'm from Louisiana, and you were talking about the UFOs earlier.
Yes.
And my father, was a pilot in the Air Force.
Uh-huh.
Flew all over, flew C-5s out of Jacksonville, California.
Big old C-5s, right.
C-5s. The biggest plane in the world.
Yeah, they're like flying warehouses.
That's it. I think they carry about 10 Greyhound buses at a time.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's told me many stories about things that he's seen.
Well, that figures. You know, I can understand he would tell somebody like you. Most pilots keep their mouths tightly stitched shut.
Yeah.
For a good reason.
Exactly. But he's told me that he's seen things that he couldn't explain, things in the air that even the control tower, and he's kind of quiet about it, you know, he doesn't tell me.
I know, sir. Listen on the air. I know. I talked with a good old friend of mine for years and years and years, John Lear, who is the son of Bill Lear, who invented the Learjet. Bill and I, John and I have been friends, and I talked to him about coming on the program, which he is considering, and he may do, but he said, you know, Art, I've got a very good job right now. He's flying, he every now and then, John will call me from 35 or 40,000 feet. He hasn't done it in a while. He called me from Honolulu the other day, and he said, I've got an awfully good job right now, and if I go public again on this stuff, it's at risk. So I understand that, I respect that, and I wanted to let you know what John had said, and I don't think he'd mind. He lost one very good job because of his outspokenness with regard to UFOs. All right, on my international line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. I'm calling you from Japan.
Japan?
And the system works well. I'm impressed with it.
Well, that's because it does work. Where are you in Japan?
Just outside of Osaka.
Osaka. And what, pray tell, are you doing in Japan?
I'm on business over here, but I had heard your show the other night on voter fraud, and I had a couple of first-hand experiences to see how it was done a number of years ago. And there's only one way I think you could really intimidate and stop voter fraud, and that would be to impanel a grand jury before the election with the express purpose and notice to the public that the ballot boxes would be subpoenaed and the programmers for the computers would be subpoenaed, and they would be questioned, and that would put a cold shoulder on it. But I can give you a couple of concrete examples that I've had first-hand knowledge of. Early in the 60s or 70s, when I just got out of the Navy, I was down working out of college, and I had the summer down in Southern California, and I was going with a girl who was in the soap operas, the showbox serials in the afternoon, 14 years my senior, and she was a close friend of the editor of the LA paper. The night after the election, at the first time that Alan Cranston got elected, he told us at dinner, her and I, that he had watched the Republican opponent get voted out, or counted out. That's the first time I heard the phrase. And what they were doing was taking the ballots from his stack, and the last 4 months, Cranston up it to $1,000. And he said he needed the money because he brought a new house.
Well, that's more of the same kind of stuff we've been hearing.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Listen, my friend, though, I'm going to have to go.
Okay.
I do appreciate your call. I appreciate you calling from Japan, and I take it everything is well there.
Oh, it is. The weather's nice. Thank you, Art.
All right.
You got a good show. Are you going to rerun that vote fraud thing again? I didn't get the whole show.
What we're gonna do is we're saving up these good interviews, kind of like little chestnuts, and we're going to run them when I go on vacation in August.
Oh, great.
All right?
Thank you, Art.
Take care. Sayonara.
Yep.
All right. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Good morning, Mr. Bill.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Las Vegas.
All right. You mentioned Las Vegas, and it just comes rolling in.
Yeah, really. I've got a comment for Dan.
Yes.
I suggest that he does go public right away.
Well, he sort of has. He can go the rest of the way. I gave him the opportunity, and he said he'd think about it to give his last name. I'm not sure it's necessary now because we have a fax with his name and all the information about him, and a lot of other information we've received previously. So, in a way, he's already protected, but he may want to go all the way.
I think he should. I was got wrapped up in a little problem in Central America in the late 80s. And
there were a lot of problems in Central America in the late 80s.
Yeah, we were going to go public with something about some soldiers down there.
Listen, can I ask you to hold?
Sure.
And maybe we'll try and pull it out of you here in a moment, but this is my Saturday morning or Monday morning, depending on how you look at it. And so here she is.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. Somewhere in Time with Art Bell continues. Courtesy of Premier Networks.
Well, that is the Dreamland theme. Dreamland runs 7 to 10 Pacific time on Sunday. This Sunday, Kurt Sutherly, author of Strange Encounters, UFOs, Aliens, and Monsters Among Us. It should be a winner. Coming up this Sunday, along with the latest report on Art's Parts, the affectionate name assigned to those Roswell fragments allegedly sent to me. And if you don't have Dreamland, if your radio station does not carry Dreamland, in a nice, polite voice, call them up and ask them to carry it. Radio stations, by the way, Dreamland now at 201 affiliates. This program at 277 affiliates, for those of you keeping track of such things. Radio stations can delay broadcast Dreamland if they wish, which means they can record it as it comes down the network chute at 7 o'clock Pacific and delay broadcast it if they wish. So you might suggest that to your radio station in case they've got something they're running on Sunday that interferes in some way. Back now to our friend, and we're going to now drag all kinds of secrets from him about Central America.
Oh, not too many secrets, Art. Not too many secrets. No, we were going to go public with, I was a fire team leader in Central America in the late 80s.
Yes, sir.
And we went after a gentleman by the name of Pablo Escobar, who is now deceased.
We know where he is.
Yeah. And we had, the second time we went down after him, I lost 3 people. And the government told, their families and all that good stuff, it was all a training accident, they weren't in any combat roles.
Yeah.
And the only reason that my assistant fire team leader got killed is because he was, trying to save one of the other guys, which I think was a futile effort. Mm-hmm. When we got back, there was nothing, nothing was said about it. My commanding officer, who was forced to retire, went to the Pentagon about it and said, no, we're going to blow this wide open. And this was right after Mr. Bush's good speech about not having any troops in Central America in any kind of combat activity.
Yeah, right.
He was forced to resign, and we were...
we weren't in Cambodia and Laos either.
That's a fact. After he was forced to resign, 2 members of my team had gotten out and decided they were going to go public with it, and NSA found out about it and pressured them.
There's some changes going underway right now. There was a 60-minute segment on it, and a lot of the people who were involved in those forays are going to now receive recognition, coming a little late, but better late than never, I suppose.
Yeah, I saw that piece. Very good piece.
Yeah. So maybe recognition is yet to come. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You take care, and maybe one of these days when you feel like divulging more, you'll call and tell us. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Yes, this is Dave from Honolulu.
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Fantastic. A comment, if I may, about Independence Day.
You certainly may.
As a Tiger flick, that's going to be awful hard to compete with. It was exciting. A little bit disappointing in a couple of areas. One is their references to Roswell said it happened in the mid-50s. And we all know it was July 7th, 1947.
Yeah, we do.
I grew up at Corona, New Mexico.
Although, you know something? There are varying reports of several crashes that occurred in the area, also near Socorro. So I'm not so exactly sure. That's one of the reasons I'm not revealing in the letter the crash location, which has been given to us, because I'm not so sure. In other words, Roswell, the general area, New Mexico, even that part of New Mexico, the general area, and there may have been several crashes.
Well, it's kind of up in the air, but Kevin Randall wrote 2 books about it.
I've interviewed him many times.
And according to the last book, the second crash site was not. There was a lot of coercion by the military at the time, and that probably had a lot to do with the discrepancies in the stories.
Well, there's still coercion going on. Witness the Defense Intelligence Agency approaching.
Your friend.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Art, I grew up at Corona,
yes,
a ranch about just out of Corona.
Yes, sir.
And as I understand, when can't remember the names. Bill's dad, Mac Brazel, when he found the wreckage, he had a young fella riding with him. They were checking his fences and all that next morning. And so one of the first things he did was take the kid back home. And he took some parts of the wreckage with him. And the kid was my cousin. And the parents of the kid was my dad's older sister and her husband. And they were among the first people to see it. And my dad later saw Mac Brazel in Roswell when he was under military escort. And my dad's younger brother.
Do you possess any of those parts?
I wish I did, but I've been hearing about it since I was a kid.
Well, I think it's clear and obvious that there were a lot of people involved in the cleanup, and it's reasonable to assume that a bunch of people did exactly what I think occurred and put some of the parts in their pocket.
If I had been involved, I would have.
And that is now what I am coming to believe, and Linda Howe is coming to believe, is what we have, that we have parts from that.
In fact, Mac Brazel's son, Bill Brazel, picked up a number of parts and was later talking to somebody about it in a bar in Corona. Yeah. And within 24 hours, he was visited by military intelligence demanding the whole cigar box full.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the call. I well understand that a lot of that went on. There are so many eyewitnesses to that, so many, that it's obvious something real occurred there, and that parts of it would have made it out, also highly probable. Anyway, back to the phones. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Good morning, Art.
Hello.
Calling in Tampa, Florida.
From Tampa, yes, sir.
Right. I just wanted to put in, I kind of...
Boy, they must carry the show all the way through on Saturday morning, I guess.
Yeah, they sort of varied, and I think they're doing that now.
That's good.
WBDN.
Yes, sir.
I'm sort of 50-50 on ID4. I thought it was an exciting film, but it was a Hollywood. It was definitely Hollywood all the way as far as cliches.
Of course, it didn't pretend to be anything but Hollywood.
Yeah, but it was definitely an entertaining film, and there was quite a bit of awesome special effects. The special effects were superb. But I was going to just mention about the guy that called, Dan.
Yes.
The one thing he said though is that he had been visited earlier in the day by the officials.
Yes.
So they would immediately know who he was, because I'm sure that any type of radio broadcast is monitored. All of it is at somebody's listening to everything.
Well, all right, he has not been on the air. His name has not been on the air. We have been in private communication with him for quite some time now. The only way that they could have known who he was is by monitoring the communications that he had either with me by fax or Linda Howe by telephone.
Right, but he had said that he had been contacted earlier in the day. Today or yesterday,
yes.
and I had been asked about contacting, some woman, obviously referring to Linda Howe.
Yes.
So all I was saying was that he just by saying that he had been contacted earlier in the day, he gave up who he was on the radio.
That's right, but that was intentional.
Right. Well, anyway, I definitely think he sounded legit. It was just, it's kind of scary. I lived in New Mexico for many, many years, and one of my best friends when I was growing up in Albuquerque, his dad worked at Sandia Labs, and he was very vehement as far as always saying, no, there's absolutely no such, it was a weather balloon, there was nothing to it. Mm-hmm. But, I guess that's kind of the company line.
The company line, yeah, well said, sir.
Thanks, Art.
Appreciate your call. Take care. Company line, yeah, very well said. All right, we're going to take a break here. coming into the final stretch run, and we'll be right back. East of the Rockies, you're on the air, top of the morning.
Good morning, Art. This is Chris calling from Peoria, Illinois.
Hi, Chris.
Tired of hearing about ID4 yet?
No.
I can't understand the calls that we're hearing about those that don't like it.
Well, I can, because no matter how solid the proof or the evidence or whatever it is you put in front of the public, my friend, I have noticed out of 1 million people, a few are going to, for me, for example, they hate my guts.
Yeah.
Hate me. They think I'm the devil. And so I've learned to accept it.
I mean, this is quite possibly, next to another movie that's a favorite of yours and mine, The Stand.
Oh,
this
yes.
is quite possibly the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life. I want to applaud whoever did the cast choices. They're so believable, the characters. Maybe that's why they don't like it. The characters aren't bigger than life. They're just normal.
You've got to remember that this subject material scares some people.
That's true. That's very true.
And when people get scared, they react with criticism and derisive comments and so forth and so on, and they just don't like it. And you've also got to remember that to Christians, this kind of thing is the devil's work.
That's very true. That's very true. Well, you're going to have to stop procrastinating and get out this weekend and see it. Maybe I'll wait until next weekend. I don't know that I feel like brave. I know how long the lines are. Yes, very long lines, and I'm going to tell you, you know, in some movies you have a point period where you can take a break and run to that restroom.
That's right.
Especially for a 2-hour, 20-minute movie. There is no point in this movie that you can leave the theater and go do that.
In other words, that's the end of your seat.
Yes, as soon as you sit down, you're done for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
So take care of business before the movie.
That's right.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Don't get an extra size large Coke or something, or you'll be part of the SRO crowd. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Art. This is the Hitman from Tucson.
Yes, sir. I'm fine.
I was curious. I just jumped in with the Fast Blast last night with Carlos Castaneda.
Oh, yes.
And I was wondering if you've read anything of him and what you thought about him as a guest.
I don't know. What do you think?
I'd really like to find him. I've tried to look up several articles on him, and it's hard to find actually him.
I wouldn't know how to find him myself. I have no idea now. It's really hard, we get people all the time who are saying, please get this person or that person as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to try to track them down, and you can spend days at it. So
would it help if you had outside people helping? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously, yes, of course. So, I mean, if you know how to get hold of them, get hold of them. We'll do it here. We will.
Yeah, I was just curious, though, what you actually thought of him and what you thought of what he wrote.
Well, not a lot, but I would be interested in talking to him, in interviewing him, and I will do so if you will help.
Oh, wonderful. And great show, and I applaud your courage, man. You take care, okay?
Take care. Sure. You know me, I'm nuts. I'll interview anybody if you haven't figured that out yet. I'll do any topic. Who cares? Getting too old to care. I just, if it comes along, it's interesting, I will do it. As I'm sure you have learned by now. I am the crazy man of late night radio. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, it's Art Bell.
It is indeed.
This is Lynn, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Yes, sir.
I taped that Warren Green show you had of him and Bob Beck.
First time callers call area 702-727-1222.
Went from about 5 up to about 55. His boyfriend also, his T count is going up using that.
You're referring to the
blood purifier.
The blood purifier, electronic purifier that Wayne Green talked about.
Right. And he sent off right away. And in fact, Bob Beck, I don't know if he wanted $200 for it or not, but he sent my boy one. No.
Bob Beck does not actually sell the machines. There's a fellow in Colorado that I believe builds the machines.
Well, they sent him one free of charge, and they also sent a machine that zaps the lymph glands and takes the virus out of the lymph glands.
That's right.
And puts it into the blood.
That's great.
So far, it's been working good. I mean,
I know. I also have heard very encouraging reports about it. So, I mean, who knows about this kind of thing? But everything I've heard. Now, you said your boy was sent one?
Yeah, they sent him one because he's totally blind. He's went blind, and I mean, he's just on his last verge, you know.
AIDS?
AIDS, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Full blown. And his boyfriend's got it, but because, you know, he's been gay for, 10 years that I know of.
Right.
And we kept telling him, Lenny, you know, sooner or later something's going to happen, but, you know, you still got to live your life, I guess.
Yeah. God,
okay, well, I thought I'd
tough.
just pass that on, and I hope you can get Warren Green back on there sometime.
That's Wayne Green. Have you
Wayne
looked?
Green,
have you looked into the protease inhibitors? Are they?
He's taken about 4 different ones. His boyfriend was taking them, but they told him that with the machine, he can't take the medication. So he stayed off his medication, and they strap it to their ankles.
Yep.
And it gives him, about 20 minutes a day he's taking that.
Yep.
And so far, the T count went way up on both of them.
God, that's encouraging. Thank you.
Sure is, yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Take care. God, AIDS is a horrible disease. You know, I don't care how you feel about the manner in which it's contracted. It kills you. And anybody who applauds the fact that people are dying from this disease, I think you're a bunch of sick bastards myself. Sick bastards. Nobody ought to have to, I'll tell you, there was a time in America when you didn't have to risk the death penalty for sex. Now, you can argue the morality of, or immorality of homosexuality, fine, or drug use, or anything else. But the penalty ought not be death. And I feel so sorry for today's young people. I mean, there was a day in America where the worst you might face would be a young lady who would have to go to another town because she got pregnant. Today, the penalty is possibly death for one wrong move. And I'll bet you it takes a lot of the spontaneity out of sex. And that's too bad because, you know, it's a good part of, it's one of the better parts of being a human being. There are a lot of painful things you go through in life as a human being. A lot of painful ups and downs, but that shouldn't be one of them. But now it is. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Good morning, Art. Mike and Blair.
Hi, Mike.
And it seems like the pulse is quickening again.
Yes.
You've really started the ball rolling here.
Well, I don't know about that. Sometimes I feel like I'm just rolling with the ball.
Well, yeah, and we're all rolling right along with you. And it's quite an adventure we're on here. And Dan, with his information, makes things even more interesting.
It does, yes.
And it's getting very serious. And I think those predictions of some other guests you've had about things coming to light yet this year, around November or so.
Yes, sir.
It's well on its way, isn't it?
I hope not. But all the signs are that it is.
You don't want it to be?
No, I don't. No, look, I've got a 15-year-old son.
Yeah.
Okay? Do I want all this to happen? No. Do I want my son to be able to live his life out and enjoy what I've enjoyed in this country? And I have. Yes. So do I want it all to end? No. No, I don't.
I don't think we're talking about it all ending, though.
No, but
we're just talking about people becoming aware of something that's being hidden from us at this point.
Yeah, but what's coming will be a big enough change that if you talk to those who predict and prophesize and see, and you really pin them to the wall, they will tell you millions will not make it through the change.
Well, that may be. I hope my grandchildren or some that do and see a brighter tomorrow.
Exactly. That's
with the knowledge that there's other things in this universe and other things to know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Take care. So I don't wish the worst to happen, and maybe it can be avoided. You know, that's the half full glass of water. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Good morning, Art. How are you?
Fine.
Maverick of Ventura calling.
Yes, sir.
How is Jim Birkeland's predictions holding up?
So far, so good, I'm afraid to say it, or depending on how you look at it. 2 quakes in the San Francisco area that match. 1 in Seattle that matches. LA's hanging.
Okay. Gas suggestion. I heard the gentleman. I think he would be a very interesting interview. Would be Stanley Hilton.
Who is that?
He's written the book pertinent to Bob Dole called Senator for Sale.
They're all for sale.
Yeah, aren't they all? Yeah, I mean, you know.
Listen, my friend, we're out of time. So you get the honors. Do you know what they are?
I believe so.
All right, let her rip.
Good night, America. Be good. Watch the heavens and watch thy back.
Yeah, that's good advice, isn't it? All right, I'll be here Sunday with Dreamland live, and then back again Monday night, Tuesday morning with Coast. Thank you all. I'm going to go on 3890 lower sideband at about 15 minutes or so. So look for me there. 75 meter band, 3890. I want to thank you all from the high deserts. I'm Art Bell. Good night, America.